Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, today we have the amazing little special hobby 172 Mirage F1.CR. Mirage F1 I always thought was a very good looking fighter jet, you know, very pointy and sort of as you imagine fighter jets would be really. And this is from Special Hobby. Now Special Hobby are better known, or I guess Special Hobby is their brand name really, but they're also known as CMK kits, or Czech Model Kit I think it stands for. Now many of you may not know the name, but they do a lot of kits that get rebadged and reboxed by people like Revell, amongst others. I built one of their kits kind of inadvertently. I built the Revell, the V2 Vengeance weapon, Nazi Vengeance weapon, the V2A4 rocket, and it was a cracking little kit, really nicely moulded, really impressed by it. So quite looking forward to this, because I think that Special Hobby deserve more profile than they get, in fact. So let's have a look. So this is kit number SH72347. Not, I've got to say the box art is a bit, it's not perhaps the strongest point, so let's have a good look at this and get straight into it immediately. So we've got, oh, this has been donated, loaned I mean, sorry I'm getting a little bit carried away with my myself there. I can't keep it, it's been loaned to me by a good friend David. And we open it and we've got, so thanks David obviously, thank you very much. We've got two lots of masks, so obviously he wasn't satisfied with one. We've got a Montex mask. Now Montex are the ones where, okay. So the Montex are the spray masks, so you can spray your own markings, whereas the Edouard masks are more for, you know, your canopy spraying and things like that, for framework and stuff like that. Let's have a look at what we got anyway. So I say, Special Hobby, very underrated manufacturer, not very well known as such, but I can tell you from personal experience they are really nice kits, they build very well. So, we've got a bit of history. Hey, now this is good, this is good. Quite a lot of history in fact. The Mirage F1, hang on a minute, let's give you some, something to look at in the background, otherwise it's going to be a bit odd I think. Let's have it like that. Okay, there we go. So, the Mirage F1.C came about as a private venture by the French Dassault company while it had been engaged in a project designed to fulfil the needs of the French Air Force for a modern fighter jet aircraft capable of all interception and tactical attack roles, carrying conventional or nuclear armament, so it was an all-round fighter bomber in other words. A variety of designs are put forward to replace the outstanding previous Mirage 3 family, which were currently filling this role. It was originally designed and designated as the Mirage 3T, Mirage 3F, Mirage G and Mirage G8. The French Air Force chose the most promising of these designs, which is the Mirage G8 with a variable sweep wing. Really? I'm sure that's a wise decision. But as the military expected a prolonged development of the aircraft for the day, they also decided to go ahead with the simpler Mirage 3F, which would have entered service sooner and help bridge the gap between the G8 and enable it to be finished. Two prototypes of the Mark 3F, excuse me, designated F2 and F3 were ordered, and these were powered by a JTF-10 engine. On top of these government contracts, Dassault also decided to go ahead with their own simpler private venture, which featured a smaller airframe powered by the ATAR 9K power plant. And when the other two more advanced aircraft were cancelled by the French government, probably due to cost, it was the private venture design that was chosen for the military and was known as the Mirage F1, featuring a small shoulder-mounted wing and conventional tailplane. And this is the thing, isn't it? It's not a delta wing. Okay, swept, but it's not a delta wing. First flight of the F1 took place on December the 23rd, 1966, and production of the aircraft entered service with the Armée de l'Air as the F1C single-seat fighter and the F1B trainer version. During the service with France, a number of these aircraft were upgraded with the fitting of IFR probes, which resulted in the designation F1C-200. The French Air Force also dedicated reconnaissance and ground attack version of the Mirage F1 called the F1.CR, which is this one. And the CT are later being converted with the earlier E1 airframes. Purchased by Greece, Denmark, the Netherlands, Belgium, etc, 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 etc. They were used in the Gulf War amongst other places. Yeah, it goes on quite a long while, so I think I'll just give that a rest. But it's quite a lot. It's almost too much information here. But so yeah, so it gives you the data at the bottom as well. It says max speed, maximum speed, Mach 2.2. So it's quick, isn't it? Two 30mm DEFRA cannons, a bit like a Mirage 3. A combination of bombs, recce pods, missiles, fuels, tanks, and other equipment. Right then. Okay. So let's have a look what we've got. Now I'm not very familiar with the instructions. This is going to be quite interesting to see how they do it. So sprue map callouts. It seems to work the opposite way to most other manufacturers, in that they seem to leave blank spaces for the bits you're not going to use, which is a bit confusing, I've got to be honest. Instead of just blotting them out or blanking them out or darkly colouring them or something, it makes it look like the sprues are going to be empty. That's a bit odd. Anyway, so it starts off, it's going to be fairly straightforward design and construction. You've got the instruments going in, you've got a decal, looks like, for the instrument panel. We've got the tub for the cockpit going in, and you're building up your nose gear. Your cockpit tub's going to go into the side, squeezed together, brought together between the two fuselage sides. Then you've got your 8R, what was it, 8R9 engine going to go in there, and that looks quite good actually. Let's see what the plastic's like, but that looks promising. You've got a split nose, split down the middle. Not sure I like that, if I'm honest. Something I'm not a great fan of, as probably many of you know. I like them to be slide moulded in a single piece, but anyway. Then we've got the sort of, I think it's the side mounting of the lower intake area where the cannons are. Your main intakes look like they're in one piece, which is quite good. Camouflage colour going in there. There's also a refueling probe. Oh yeah, okay. The refueling probe is actually part of the nose. It's all part of the same piece. Then you've got your very conventional sort of big fin, and your tail planes going in. So we've got traditional, I was going to say traditional elevators, but they're actually all moving tailplane. But you know, they're not elevons in this case, are they? Because they've got the ailerons actually on the wings. Then your wings are going in as well, of course. Building in your gear, front. Your front, obviously it's tricycle, so you need some nose weight. Did it mention nose weight, by the way? Didn't, did it? That's a bit of an omission. It doesn't seem to have any mention of nose weight. Well, you better be aware you're going to need some, otherwise you're going to have a lot of problems. And it'll be a tail sitter if you're not careful. I would think about 30 grams, 25, 30 grams, something like that for this one. Anyway, moving on, we've got the all the undercarriages going in, and the doors. Then you're going to put very strangely, they then come to the ejector seat quite late in the build, and that is dropped into the cockpit tub from above, like so. Then you've got your various pods, you've got weapons, you've got air-to-air missiles by the look of it, rockets, and a fuel tank, central fuel tank. Is it central? No, it's on the wing, sorry. And it looks like maybe a jamming pod or something like that. And then we've got our cockpit open or closed, the windscreen going in there. And then it mentions here, interestingly, CMK have resin sets to improve your Mirage C1. So they do a radar with pressurised casing. They do another radar with an uncovered scanner dish, so you can have it open, interestingly. Afterburner unit with engine nozzle. And then you've got two different types of ejector seat, and you've got an Iraqi centerline tank and wheel set. So there's quite a few different options you can actually buy as upgrades for it. Then we have our this is for the red flag exercise, and this is the French Air Force, isn't it? Yes, I think so. French Air Force red flag. So this is obviously an international exercise. Then we have got another version, Rem in France. Sort of a deserty type scheme, aren't they? To be honest. And then finally we have got the Belfort. This is more of a Northern European sort of style of camo, like you would normally expect in the Northern European NATO style. So that's quite nice. Okay then, so let us have a look at what we have got in terms of the plastic. Well, it looks like it comes in one large bag, so that's quite interesting. Resealable one though, so that's the good news. Okay, got a few parts that seem to be off the sprue here. Let's just move that mask aside over there. And so we've got a separate sprue each for each side of the fuselage. It's quite unusual. But I say CMK they have a really fine attention to detail in my experience. They're quite good. So this should be a bit of a treat, all being well. So, bring you in. I have to say it already looks very promising. And remember, this is 1/72 scale. And you can see here we've got some great detail in the gear bay. Fantastic detail there for 72nd, I'd say. Lovely panel lines, very, very crisp. And they do it in this very sort of quite hard plastic, quite a solid feeling plastic. A bit like Tamiya almost, the plastic is actually. Obviously on the other side we've got the exact opposite side. We don't have one of these sort of tail planes that's attached to the fuselage. It's a separate add-on item later. But as you can see, some lovely detail underneath. Look at that. Look at those panels and hatches, etc. Very, very finely moulded. This is reminding me a little bit of the armour hobby kits that we've been looking at recently. Okay, I'll put that aside. We seem to have several bits that are off the sprue. We've got part of the engine here, which looks like it's the afterburner end. Exit of the engine. Looks very, very nice. Lovely moulding. See the detail there? That's really good, isn't it? That's nice indeed. We've got several rails for the weapons here, I think, actually, which looks very, very nice. Now we've got some really, this looks like slide moulding to me. Look at the intakes. This is the intakes for the jet engines. Now that is really nicely done, isn't it? All in one piece, look. And you've got these Zokimura style lugs, which are for helping the ejector pin punch out. And then over here we've got the different styles of nose, and you've actually got the option of having it with the probe or without it, it would seem. There's a very sharp looking nose there. I've got to be honest, I wish they hadn't done it in a split form, but they haven't, they haven't done it in quite a subtle way. It might fit okay, this. You can see there are lugs, and yeah, I think it might be alright. It might be alright. And we've got our gear legs here, which again, they've got these ejector pin lugs attached to them. You've got the other parts of your engine here, and the main pipe up the centre here, or the actual trunking of the engine itself. And then we have air brakes and our instrument panel, and it looks like there's several options. It may be possible to build more than one kit. I think this piece that's missing from the sprue, I think that's that piece of engine that we just saw already. Then over here we've got the wings, and they're not a huge wing, of course, on the Mirage F1. It's got a sort of a delta shape swept wing, but it reminds me a little bit of the old Fallen Gnat slightly in that respect. And then you've got conventional tail planes over here. But certainly looking at the detail, you've got absolutely fantastic panel line detail there. and oh, sorry. So these are actually the inserts here for the lower part of the wing, which inserts, as you can see there, within the actual top wing. So teensy weensy bit of flash just there on that trailing edge. You can see that. It's not going to be much of a problem, I don't think. Then we have the tails, and there seems to be that the tail is in one complete piece. And again, we have 3 different options. So if you're clever, you can probably build a number of different versions if you do your research on this one. If you look carefully at the trailing edge of the tail here, you'll see there are different pods that are attached to it. So 3 very distinctive versions of the aircraft there, to be honest, which is quite encouraging because it means you've got some options. Then you've got your pylons, and we have our ejector seat here. Our nose wheel and main gear here, and the gear on this one is a little bit Jaguar-like in style of design, I have to say, because those wheels are a complete wheel each, so it has a very Jaguar-like undercarriage. I think it's that obviously Dassault, took influence from the Jaguar work that was done. Quite understandable they do that, really. So that's that. Then we're finally on the grey sprues. We're into the weapons. So here we've got all sorts of the French. Was it the Magic missile? I think it was one of the ones they used. Their version of the Sidewinders. We've got laser guided bombs here as well. We've got these different types of tanks. There's a centerline pod there, this one. And we've got some countermeasures pods, and there is also several different types of rail available. And all your different fins for your different missiles and pods are down the bottom. I mean, they're really nicely figured and engraved. There's not any flash. That's the part that's come off the sprue here, by the way. That's the one of the. I think it's one of the. Is it a flap? Is it a door? Not sure. Make sure we don't lose that anyway. Don't think David would appreciate that going missing, so we'll make sure that goes back in the bag. Then we've got some nice decals, and it looks like we have shark mouth here. Wait, look at that. Shark's mouth. And we've got a variety of different markings. Not too many stencils, to be fair. Not too many. Not as many as we had on that 72nd scale Aero Cobra recently, which seemed to be absolutely festooned with them. That was the Armour Hobby one. And then last but not least, we have got our clear parts. And again, there's 3 options on the actual main canopy, 3 different designs. So yes, you've got there the classic CMK kits. Can you see that? CMK kits logo. So that's what Special Hobby is their sort of brand name, but CMK is the company name. Those are nice, those canopies, I think. They're actually really nicely formed. Very crisp and they look quite even. Not too distorted. Yeah, they're nice. Well, I have to say that, when I realised that Special Hobby and CMK were one company, I thought this is going to be a good kit, and it is, isn't it? It is. I think that maybe some parts of the instruction are not terribly clear, especially on the colour call out bit where it gives a bit of the local history. It's a bit strange the way they've done it. It's a bit confusing to the eye, I've got to say. But the actual plastic is just beautiful, really. I mean, even down to that P-toe on the nose, it's really nice. For a 1/72 scale, I remember building the Airfix version of this. It wasn't that was from the late 70s, I think. Wasn't a patch on this at all. Not even close. So, I am most impressed with that, genuinely. it's not often we get a special hobby CMK kit anyway to review, so that's quite a treat. I've done that now, and I haven't included the fuselage parts. That's a bit silly. And I like the way they do those as a separate part. Instead of trying to cram everything onto one big sprue to do it as cheaply as possible, these guys have really thought it through. Properly done, that is. So, thank you to David for letting us see that. That is really nice. If you consider any other special hobby kits, I would recommend them as a manufacturer. Strongly recommend them to you. Highly underrated. What am I going to give it? I think I'm going to give it... It's 1/72. There's a lot of detail, and it comes with lots of weapon stores. I'm going to give it 9.5 out of 10, which is quite a high rating. But it just feels and looks right, and the engraving of the panel lines is so even and crisp all the way around it. Underneath, it's got a real. I think when you paint that up and weather it up, it will. Things like a panel wash will really pop on it. It's going to look really amazing, and it's a great looking sporty jet anyway. Whether they should have had quite so many of the sort of deserty scheme, I'm not sure, but that's their choice, I suppose. 9.5 out of 10. That's a really good rating. That's I thought it was going to be an 8.5, 9, but it's actually a bit better than that. So yeah, I'm very impressed with it genuinely. And check out Special Hobby CMK. Their kits are absolutely amazing. Well, I hope you'll give me 10 out of 10, a full score with a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It costs you nothing. Join the channel. And if you are a regular subscriber, make sure you ding the notification bell, and make sure you ding all notifications, not the personalised one, because that's when YouTube go off on a little journey and decide to do their own thing, and they start choosing which ones to send you. Doesn't work. So ding the all under the notifications banner. Make sure your notifications are turned on your device as well for YouTube, generally speaking. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us. I mentioned before that David has been very kind to loan us a number of these kits, and they've all been very interesting so far. I haven't had one that's disappointed me at all. So, and I'm not just saying that because he's lent us some kits for free, but they've all been interesting kits, and they've been little diamonds between them. So, there's more to come. Please stay tuned. And in the meantime, thank you very much for your time, for joining us. Stay well, stay safe, and I hope to see you in the very near future. In the meantime, thanks a lot, and bye for now.